Welcome, pilgrims, to episode 17 of the Polygon Pilgrimage. This week we're going to talk about constructive criticism, and I think this is a big, important thing for a lot of artists, especially people who are new and starting out, that they want to show their work to people because you want to get feedback. And the idea is you want to get feedback and you want people to say, oh, I like it, I love it, it's great. Well, that's, a little unrealistic sometimes. What you really want, even if you don't want to admit it, is you want people to say, I like it, but here's ways that it can be better. And that's what we're focusing on today. This is my home forum here, the Polycount forum. It is polycount.com. And what I really like here is that there are a lot of people on this board that are, here's all the people that are on right now. Look at this, that's 30 or so. And what I really like about it is that the people here are willing to help you if you are willing to put in the work. And what I mean by that is when you post here, there are some categories I'm going to show you here. When you post, make sure you come back and read it often because they will respond sometimes very quickly and say, oh, that's a common problem I ran into. Here's how to fix it. Or, oh, go check out this great tutorial. They will give you advice and you need to pay attention to it because it's kind of disrespectful if you don't. And this is good advice that is waiting here for you. Alright, so in particular on this board, I'm going to use this as an example, but there are similar threads in many forums. I like to go in here into what they call pimping and previews. You go in here and there's a couple categories that are common. All of these are threads, individual projects that people are working on. There's a couple up here at the top that are really nice. They made them in stickies. What are you working on? This is the 2012 year. So you just go in here and just post a picture of whatever it is you're working on. Post a model, post whatever, and you'll get feedback. A lot of people view this one, like myself, every single day, sometimes 2-3 times a day, to keep up with what's happening, what's going on, and to be helpful to other players, other artists. So, also, there's some subcategories here, some specifically for low poly, and there are others specifically for speed modeling. If you're just trying out something or a quick trick, you go here and you post and make sure that you tell people, hey, I did a quick sculpt last night, how does it look? And you should try your best to make sure everything is in the category it belongs in, and that will help people be more accepting of it, and they'll jump at the chance to help you. There are times here where I have posted and people are jumping over each other to be the first one to give you that great piece of advice. So there are sites like this out there, and I encourage you to visit them and make sure you pay attention to the category that you're posting to, and people will be willing to help you. Now, in particular, talking about the critiquing process, one of the things that I highly recommend is what I call learn to learn. And you'll post something and say, I'm having trouble with this, can you please help me, or I did this. And someone will reply and say, you need to do it this way, or this way is better, or I know a trick. And sometimes it's, they can be a little gruff, or it's a little off-putting. You say, I know what I'm doing. Well, maybe you don't, or maybe you don't know it well enough. But what you really need to know is learn to learn from what they're telling you. And you will grow from that. And a lot of times, the people I see who do the best with their projects here are ones who take in the advice and now they're willing to grow from it. And they're the ones that are ultimately successful. The people who are resistant to change or who think that they know better, well, then why are you here asking in the first place? You need to approach it in sort of a humble stance. A very important thing with posting to forums is that you have to strive to improve. Some of these people who, like the pros who are on here, either on their lunch break or maybe it's part of their job to, look something up, their time is valuable and they don't want to be frustrated by someone who is going to ask a question and then not put the advice to good use. So what you need to do is always make sure that you are willing to take what you are given, apply it, and make yourself better. Always strive to improve, and the people who helped you once will be willing to help you again. And a addition to that is always post your revisions. If you have something in here that you're working on and someone gives you some advice, you should take that advice, go do what they've said. Try it out. Always, make a saved copy if you feel better about it. But try out what you've done and then post it back. Because you need to take your work, bring it back in here, and let them see it again. Because that is a way to show them that you have taken what they have given you, you've applied it, and brought it back and said, here, I've done what you've asked or done what you've told me. I learned from it. Thank you. And tell me, is this better? And when they see that you're actually listening to them, they're going to be much more willing to help you in the future. I've had some people that I helped them, and I have gotten a couple responses back. They said, thank you for helping me, or thank you for explaining that. I didn't know these things at the beginning. Everyone was an amateur at first. And it's only through doing, making a mistake, but then learning from that mistake are we able to grow. And lastly, never be afraid to have to redo something. I have an example here. I'll show you. Here's the house project I've been working on, and I did not know how incredibly difficult it is to make sure that multiple angles of a roof all line up properly. Who knew, right? Well, I redid this roof probably 8 times, all within the same night, and I was getting frustrated, I'll be honest, and I learned from it. I learned that once you do it a few times, you're going to do it one time, you're never done. Always do it a second time at least, because you will find a better way to do it the second time. You'll do it faster. You'll find those little shortcuts or little tricks, and I say, oh, I know that it's this distance. I know the numbers. I can snap it to that point, and you'll learn little things. Like from doing this a couple times, I learned that this wall and this wall don't line up perfectly, so I need to fix that. But I know that I redid the roof, so I know the roof is perfect. So I know the wall needs to move to adjust a little bit to it. But this was only through repetition. So my advice is don't just redo, do better. Each time you have to do something again, it's not the end of the world. Don't be super upset about it. Just say, okay, that didn't work, so let me try that again and take what I've learned and use it to push forward. And now I have a roof that honestly is about half the poly count it was. I spoke with a friend of mine who is in the game industry, and he said, every game engine is going to triangulate your model. We'll talk about that later. So you might as well triangulate it in a way that you want it to be triangulated, and this is a way that helps the smoothing so that everything is nice and flawless. So I learned something in the process, and I'm doing this to try and teach other people some things, yes, but it's just to kind of catalog my learning. So I'm still learning too. So that's the point, is that we should all be working towards getting better, and things like forums are fantastic for getting that advice. You're not alone in this industry or this enterprise, and you're going to be working with other people. So learn to work with them in this stance. And then when you are with them in person, it's going to be even easier still. So, it's all about making really cool stuff, and I have hours of fun doing this. So why not get some advice so that this becomes better? It just makes sense. All right, guys, so I'll leave you with a little preview here of the mansion project coming along. As you can see, it rotates incredibly slowly when I'm not in occluded mode here. We're up to, what is it, 200 and something thousand, 240,000, and this is at the low poly. Isn't that crazy, guys? Alright, so I hope you really enjoyed this episode of the Polygon Pilgrimage. Please take this advice to heart, because it will help you in the future. I know, there was a time before I learned these things that I did not take this to heart, and I struggled. But now, if you just, learn to take things with a grain of salt sometimes and listen to what is said to you, like I said, consider the source and integrate it into your work, it will improve. And I can tell you honestly, completely honestly, when I graduated with a degree in multimedia arts and animation, I would not be able to make this house. So, I've improved from there, and it was through learning, and learning only happens by making mistakes, by taking what that teaches you and using that to move forward. So I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. Once again, please enjoy the quote at the bottom of the page. And if you have any questions, any comments, any ideas, anything you want me to try and do or show you, or we can learn together perhaps, just shoot me an email, and we'll keep going. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week as the pilgrimage continues.